It is Friday, March 16th, 2012. It's 4-4 time on CNET TV. I'm Jeff Baccalar.
And I'm Justin Yu.
And this is the show where we've bring in our Ella.
She's face palming already. The show hasn't even started yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, help us welcome to the fine program, Ella Morton. How are you, Ella?
Hello, people of Earth.
People of Earth. Yeah, round of applause.
Thank you for the resounding applause.
Has nothing to do with the fact that you're the first woman to grace our show in a long time.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that.
You guys are starved for femaleness, though.
Chat room is going crazy.
Yes, we're glad you could help us fill that void. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, you're so welcome.
You're an ex-CNETer.
Yes.
Which is probably news to everyone on the U.S. side of things. You were in the Australia.
Probably. I worked at CNET Australia for about 5 years.
Cool.
Until the end of 2008.
So tell us about that. I mean, what do you like? In the pre-show, you were like, "Oh, I like being back in the CNET, world."
Well, I think because I joined CNET at what was probably my prime. I'm
Sure.
it's all downhill from here, but
That's it. CNET was the highlight. We have a lot to look forward to.
Well, it was my early 20s, and things were fun and crazy, and it was a really cool company.
Right.
And so I have very fond memories of CNET. But I worked there for about 5 years, doing mostly audible audio and on-camera stuff.
Cool.
And I made very, very rare appearances on CNET TV in the US.
Oh, right on.
There was a show that lasted for about 3 seconds called Planet CNET.
I remember Planet
Yes,
CNET.
in which different countries, different CNETs would file reports.
Right.
And us in the UK tended to file these bizarre sort of parodies
Yeah.
where, like, we did this one where it was a fake current affairs report about how Australia didn't have the iPhone yet, and how kids across the country had gone crazy and were talking into their iPod touches because
It's just that's pretty good.
it was I don't think we submitted it and it was met with a sort of resounding silence.
Yeah.
Aw.
So
People just don't get your humor.
I know they don't. Well, that's okay. Not everyone can understand the subtle intricacies of the parody.
It's an acquired taste that's very few Americans are privileged.
We need
enough
that
to,
show around too. We need Planet CNET to come back because
would
I feel
love
like
that.
people don't realize that there are other CNETs in different countries.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, and actually, you're a good friend of someone else who frequently comes on this show, Ty Pendlebury.
Mr.
Yeah.
Ty Pendlebury.
From CNET Australia as well. He's come on and talked to us a lot about. I've learned a lot about Australian
I have
culture
too.
just by him being here.
I feel like I've been there.
Been calling people bogans all over the place.
Oh, bogans.
He's been warning us about drop bears, which
Yeah.
are terrifying, by the way.
They
Never
definitely
coming to
exist.
Australia.
Vampirical bears.
Yeah,
They're not fake at
HD.
all.
It's very bizarre.
HD.
It tells us about all
I don't
the
say
HD
H. H is actually it's almost like a class issue in Australia.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
some
you're
people-
saying Ty's a bum? is
Well,
what
I
you're
think it might be. I say H, and I found I really hate the sound of H.
And you say Z though,
Jarring.
right?
Unless I'm saying ZDNet, yes.
Whoa.
Z, XYZ, Z.
XYZ just flows right off the tongue there. Nah, I'm messing around. And then after CNET, you sort of jumped around a little bit. You were doing some stuff with, what was right after CNET?
After CNET, I moved here, and then I didn't have a job for about several months.
The American
I was-
dream.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
kind of terrified that my decision was the wrong one. But then I started working at Rocket Boom
Okay.
and hosting a show called Rocket Boom NYC.
Right on.
And I was there for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right on. So after Rocket Boom, then you're at your current? Oh, no.
Well, in between
In
that.
between, right.
Well, sort of at the same time, I was co-writing a book,
Sure.
the Record Setter Book of World Records.
Yes, which we have right here.
Yes.
Justin Yu, thank you
Cool.
very much.
We actually talked about a story that involved Record Setter earlier this week at South by Southwest.
Oh,
Takuro
Kobayashi.
Kobayashi was
Yeah.
there. He set the record for, I think, the most sandwiches of grilled cheese.
Sandwiches of cheese.
Yeah, sandwiches of cheese eaten out, like, I think it was like
In 1
10.
minute.
In one minute, yeah.
1 minute, yeah.
13,
Pretty
I
gnarly.
believe.
It's pretty gnarly.
It's crazy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that you actually co-wrote this book or edited it?
I co-wrote it. Yeah.
Right on. So what was that process like? Because it sounds like, I mean, obviously you guys are like in competition with those Guinness people, right?
Yes,
How
we are.
is there like a big Guinness record setter fight? Like,
We see it as fulfilling different needs.
Sure.
We see if Guinness was like the Encyclopedia Britannica, then Record Setter is the Wikipedia.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that analogy.
So it's a bit more open.
Sure.
It's more collaborative.
right.
It's very specific as
It
well.
is very specific.
Guinness World Records is always like highest jump, but this is like stuff like most questions asked during a single drive-through visit.
That is a highly competitive category.
Yeah, fastest time to lick a candy cane to a sharp point. That sounds like something I'd like to
I
watch.
think it's safe to say that Record Setter, their records are more fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think,
But
just
then-
to put it simply.
That's true, but it's not all just ridiculous stuff. There are things in there that are incredibly difficult.
Sure.
And like there was one that's most pies baked and delivered to a charity on Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Some of them are really cool.
So now, correct me if I'm wrong, people can sort of invent their own records and then you
Yes.
guys sort of validate them.
Yes, as long as they're quantifiable and breakable,
Right.
then they can be submitted to the site, and they need evidence in the form of a video usually.
I had friends, my buddy Evan claims that he had a record setter for most boxes knocked down via human projectile.
That sounds like a Record Setter record.
And I think it does sound very record settery. And I think there was some sort of Spanish television show.
yes,
That
Otra Movida.
Yes.
Yes.
That contacted him to try and dethrone his record
Oh,
on their program.
Well, they've been having a fight with Jimmy Fallon because a lot of Record Setter
Right,
records
yes.
have been set on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon.
Yes.
And this random TV show in Spain just decided to take on all of the records that Jimmy Fallon set.
And they just like hate
Beat 'em
Jimmy
all.
Fallon.
Yeah,
and
for no
apparently,
reason.
I like that.
and I'm so glad you brought that up because that reminded me. My buddy Evan said apparently in the what's the name of the show again?
Otra Movida.
Right, Ultra Movida. Apparently, there's a sign in the background of
Yes.
one of the videos
It's
that
contentious.
says "F you, Jimmy Fallon."
But the
Right?
thing is, like, they have a lot of respect for Jimmy, and
Yeah.
it's an affectionate thing, but it is kind of jarring to see that, like, in big letters, F you, Jimmy
Yeah,
Fallon.
yeah. It's like we love you so much. Go F yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Funny.
very,
That's some
very
beef.
odd.
We
Anyway,
need to set one of those records.
I would love to.
What could we
We
do?
should.
What do you
We should do
think?
longest period of total silence set on a recorded podcast.
Wow.
Just
We
deliver.
can just stop talking.
Just deliver a 24-hour silent podcast.
How do you like that, listeners?
Yeah, enjoy that. What do you,
You could
think?
do you know what? There are a lot of records that involve throwing pieces of technology.
Okay.
So it's like furthest distance to throw a printer.
They
I'm
have
sure.
plenty of printers.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I've seen some printer chuckers before.
Yeah.
We're looking at the king right here.
Oh,
Printer
Practice
chucker.
at home.
you.
I am the printer editor, and then afterward we just trash all of them, so that's perfect.
It'll be like the shot put. You'll have to like do some sort of like spiral
Yeah.
delivery
Right.
and then launch it into some sort of like apparatus. That would
Yeah.
be sick, dude.
Try to organize that.
All right, I'm writing that down
I'm
right
sure
now.
the vendors would love seeing
Yeah.
that too.
Dude, I don't care if I'm Canon and my printer's the one that got chucked the furthest. I'm psyched about that.
Add that to the specs list.
Yeah, they're damn straight. Most aerodynamic printer out there. That's what you're going for. Awesome. So you've been all over the place, and you've had a very cool career so far. And
I
That's
have.
pretty awesome.
And yeah, the project I'm working on right now is amazing. It's teaching me so much stuff about the world.
Yeah. So tell us about it. So it's for a publication called Atlas Obscura.
That's right.
Right.
Atlas Obscura started out as a website by two guys, Joshua Foa and Dylan Thuris.
Cool.
And it's this website about the world's most wondrous places.
Sure.
So I'm currently writing the book version.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
When is that going to come out? Because I really want to get my hands on that.
2013.
That's fine. That's in the future. That's
but
fine.
it's going to be 500 pages. So
What?
it's huge.
All right. Pictures?
Yeah, lots of pictures.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I can read it.
Yes.
I'm psyched about
I
that.
love Atlas Obscura, by the way. I read all
good.
kinds of
Yeah,
blogs just like this,
for sure.
like Forgotten New York, for example. But Atlas Obscura is really cool. I used it to find this place called Dead Horse Bay.
Oh, yes.
That's like kind of on the southern tip of Brooklyn, right by Coney Island. It's on the way to this beach, and basically it's this place where they used to have horse mills where they would turn horse hooves into like glue and things like that.
Yeah, that's what HBO's Luck show has been
Yeah,
doing lately.
exactly. But then, like after they would, grind up these horses, is kind of disgusting.
Yes.
The bones would wash up onto the surface of this beach right next to the factory, and if you go there, you can still find little like inches of bones, and then also all kinds of like debris and bottles and old shoes and stuff.
For sure.
It's kind of cool, and I found that on Atlas Obscura a while ago.
Sounds
it's a
like
really
a-
used website.
Fun day trip.
Yeah, nice date. Your first date. You want to go to Dead Horse Bay?
Oh,
Sip some
dear.
bones.
It reminds me of like you ever hear of like the Weird brand, like Weird
Yes.
New Jersey? That when I was growing up I mean, I feel like it started when I was in high school, but I never missed one of those quarterly issues. It was always just so strange, and everything was in our backyard. It was like, oh, check out this slaughterhouse and check out all these wacky places in New Jersey. So yeah, if you're into that sort of stuff, this is totally in the same vein. Atlas Obscura.
Yeah. Have you
Check it
visited a
out.
lot of the places on Atlas Obscura?
You know what? That's the number one question people ask me because I'm writing about these places all over the world, and unfortunately, I haven't. I'm blessed in that I have these good resources. The people that I work with have been to all these places, so I talk to them and I read books and I spend a lot of time at the library. But I'm learning some insane things. Like
so you were sort of prefacing this in the pre-show. Tell us some sort of wacky stuff that you're uncovering.
Well,
you're excited.
I have so many good dinner party stories these days. I'm on the Europe chapter at the moment.
Okay.
And we have a lot of historical stuff that we put into the places as well. So there's a museum in Budapest in Hungary called the Semmelweis Museum.
Okay.
And it's named after this doctor who was around in the 1840s who worked at a maternity ward. And he noticed that all the mothers tended to die after giving birth, and he didn't know why. And then he observed that the doctors who were delivering the babies had just come from the morgue where they had been conducting autopsies. And so he proposed this wacky theory, this strange revolutionary idea.
Oh my God.
That the doctors ought to wash their hands.
Oh my God.
After dealing with the corpses and before delivering babies. And the medical community was outraged. They said, what? Are you crazy? Because this is before germ theory and before Pasteur and everyone.
Yeah, they're like, but there's obviously nothing wrong with the way we've been doing things.
Exactly, you know, hands,
Oh God.
hands in someone's
brutal.
intestines.
And their junk, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
junk probably as well. And he was sort of ostracized from the medical community.
Sure.
And he went a bit crazy and was writing these letters to them and ended up in an asylum where he died within 2 weeks of septicemia, which is the very disease that he was trying to prevent. So,
Sweet irony.
sweet irony.
Wow.
that.
Wash your hands, people.
Wash your damn hands.
And this is a short one,
crazy.
but I
That's
thought
crazy.
you might appreciate it.
Sure.
Back in the 18th century, when there was no medical way of determining whether people had actually died or if they were just in a coma or something,
Oh wow, yeah.
they had these methods to determine whether people were dead or not.
Okay.
And one of them was that they would administer tobacco smoke enemas using a sort of bellows.
Gives new
And
meaning to blowing smoke
up your ass.
ass.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
But beside the Thames River in London, they used to have like these boxes
yeah.
filled with the means for a tobacco smoke enema. So it was like break glass if death is suspected and jam bellows.
I mean, if you weren't dead before someone did that, I'm
Yeah.
sure doing that would probably kill them.
Yeah. Any revivals were purely coincidental, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Wow, that is super wacky.
Wow.
I have to ask this question from Ty. He told me to bring it up to you about
Okay.
another creepy story from this universe. It's something about eggs. Okay.
I need to read up on the details of this because it's in Asia and I haven't gotten to the Asia chapter yet. But
All right. Can you speak a little to it?
there is something called, I believe it's in China, and it's called little boy eggs.
Oh.
And it's basically
Jesus.
eggs that are marinated in children's urine
What? Wait a
and then sold, and people consume them for their health.
That's a bad
So you get
look
like
for
this
us.
frothy, bubbling soup of boys' urine.
It's only boys?
I think it's only boys. I think it might be a fertility thing. I know it's on the Atlas
Interesting.
website.
Is that safe? Like,
People drink their own urine all the
sterile,
time.
right?
It's
That's
a
true.
thing.
Bear Grylls does it all the time.
Yeah.
yeah, he's the man.
Yeah. I've heard of the 1,000-year-old egg or the
Right.
10-century-year-old egg. That's like vinegar, though, I think.
Yeah,
The urine
this-
thing might have been the origin of it. I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Potentially.
This is very, very upsetting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so wacky.
I think that was our most popular shared story on Facebook. People just
People love
the
those urine drinking
Yeah.
stories. Very much the clicks.
It's just one of those.
Clickbait.
It's a timeless.
Yeah.
It's a timeless story. Oh
the
dear,
ages.
it is
Wow.
for the ages.
All
All
right,
right,
cool.
Let's take a break and digest some of that. More with Ella Morton right after this on the 404. I thought I was going to be hungry today.
No.
Turns out, not so much. We'll be right back.
This is the 404 MRFers, the show where we all sing songs.
Sesame Street's quite a musical place.
Yeah.
Everyone's always singing and dancing.
Yeah.
Do you get into the singing and dancing?
Oh, yeah, me love that. Yeah, me love it. Only place where you can walk down the street and you feel like singing song, you know, and you go, music! The music start! Where it come from?
It's magic.
It is! Bouncy, nice. Ah,
Wow, those are some moves you've got going there. Oh my goodness, is that the worm?
Family, friends, and fate from above, making right choices and living love. La 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 la, la 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 la.
oh! Cookie, 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 start with.
See,
C is for cookie, that good enough for me. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
that not entirely true. No.
Okay, give
No,
us-
me always eat cookies. Hydrant.
nom 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 nom. You use this voice style.
Welcome back to the 404. Ella Morton on the show today. You can follow her on Twitter at Ella Morton. Please do that.
Yeah.
You would like that, wouldn't you?
I would love it.
We just watched a video, a sort of montage of. You got to interview a lot of the puppets from Sesame Street.
Muppets.
Muppets.
excuse
Muppets.
me.
I'm sorry. Whoa. Whoa.
Jeez. Huge
Muppets.
Got some Jim Henson fans.
I
in
know.
here.
I know. I'm gonna get my ass kicked by some Muppets. So what was that like? That looks like it was a lot of fun.
It was pretty much the greatest workday ever.
Yeah.
We had been contacting Sesame Street for a long time because we really wanted to go there. The studio is in Queens, right here in New York,
Right.
and we really wanted to go there and interview them, but we thought, well, it's probably not going to happen.
Sure.
But then it was their 40th anniversary, and they decided to invite people in. So we got to go and basically tour the set.
It's awesome.
Man.
So I sat in Big Bird's nest.
Aw.
I got inside Oscar's rubbish bin or garbage can.
That's sick.
And we went to Hooper's store. We sat on the stoop, and I interviewed Cookie Monster and Elmo.
Right.
That's so cool.
Let's watch a clip from the Cookie Monster interview because it's hilarious. We just showed a montage, but here's Ella and and Cookie Monster. It's hilarious. Let's check it out.
Style.
Well, yeah, me guess so.
You use this voice. It's kind of like a bit of a nom 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 nom.
Let me see, when we eat cookie, nom. Me do that.
Yes.
Yes, we know what you're talking about.
A lot of people are using this nom 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 when they talk about wanting something that's delicious.
Nom. Me nom.
Yes, from you.
Me actual nom.
Yes.
Why me not get royalties on this? Me
what I
got to
was
get my
wondering.
attorney on it.
This distinctive cookie eating.
It's pretty cool. So the video is unbelievable. We'll link to it in our show notes today.
That's awesome.
I can't stress enough how awesome it is. I feel like the older you get, the funnier those Muppets are.
Yeah, well, it works on so many layers.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Cookie Monster's been on Colbert,
Right.
and he talks about like political issues. Kermit was on the other night talking about the Republican race.
Right. It's amazing.
Yeah, but even though I knew that there was a human person operating Cookie Monster and Elmo,
Right.
I still just talked to the Muppet as
Right.
though it wasn't.
As
Making eye
it's
contact.
Yeah,
real.
it's because there's something that's so compelling about
For
them.
sure.
Yeah. I wanted to also ask you about the workshop tour that you took. We were
Yes.
kind of talking about it in the pre-show, but I just went to the Jim Henson exhibit up at the
Oh,
Museum
yeah.
of Moving Image, and they kind of showed some of the workshop pieces, like a lot of the googly eyes and the felt material they would use. But were you able to walk around and kind of see the puppet builders?
You know what? They actually have a policy where visitors aren't allowed to see Muppets unless they are being operated because they don't
Wow.
want to destroy the illusion.
Sure.
Because
That
they get
fourth
a lot
wall.
of children coming to the set, and
That would
they-
traumatize the
Yeah,
kid.
and they don't want to see like some ping pong ball eyes and like a bit of fur strewn across
What
the
about like a
floor.
lifeless Elmo? Just
Yeah.
like, oh,
So
that would
I think it's a
freak
really
kid
good
right out.
policy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure.
Um,
I feel like they really do protect that cast. They and like you said, it was so tough to even get access. They're sort of like almost Disney-esque when it comes to that.
But it's when you're there, it's such a good environment.
Sure.
I mean, all the puppeteers have been working there for such a long time. It is like they have this little close-knit family.
Right.
And we got to watch an episode being filmed.
That's cool.
And everyone's just so laid back and
Yeah.
casual.
That's really awesome.
I want to live there.
I mean, what could be wrong? What could be bad about that? That's
Nothing.
pretty awesome. So we talked all about Ella and your career, and you definitely have to come back. By the way,
I would
this
love
is
to.
always a lot of fun. Okay, I'm not gonna beat around the bush any longer. There's something I want to talk about that we have to bring up. Just because I feel like we'd be doing our show an injustice.
Sit down, chat room.
disservice,
Everyone
mate.
in the chat room, sit down.
So I'm looking at my notes here, and part of your career includes the occupation, maybe still does, of being a burlesque dancer. Is that
Yes.
are you still doing that?
Yes.
Okay,
under
wait,
a
hold
different
on. Where are you doing
under
that?
under a different name.
Of course.
And I'm not going to give out the name because people can find it if they search hard enough.
Yeah, if they really wanted to unearth it, I think it would be
Yes.
unearthable.
But it's something that I kept secret, I guess,
Sure.
for a long time because I felt like, I don't know. I mean, when I was on Rocket Boom especially, I thought, well, I don't know if I want pictures out there on the internet,
right.
and I'm doing a show that's meant to be family friendly. And when I talked to my boss about it, though, he said, "Oh, I don't care. Go for it. Have fun."
Sweet.
Yeah, but I do still. I maintain sort of separate
Oh, you do?
identities.
That seems really cool. How is that tough to balance on the internet,
Yeah.
especially on the internet, being an internet personality?
Definitely. I'm getting less concerned about it. I don't think people maybe care as much as I thought they did.
Right. Well, I would imagine the internet is a very progressive sort of environment, and
Yeah.
people can do whatever the hell they want, and that's pretty awesome.
Have you
Yeah.
been doing that for a while then? How long?
I started out doing go-go, which is it's when you dance before the main burlesque acts. So, remember like in the 60s, the girls in the cages?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so they had like Goldie Hawn was painted with peace signs.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, so
Just-
that's basically go-go.
Okay, so go-go precedes burlesque.
It's generally used as a warm-up to the main act.
It's like the farm team.
I don't
it's
know
like-
what that is.
It's like not major leagues, like the one below that.
It's like an opening act.
Yeah,
any sports analogy is lost on me.
Right, yeah,
me
it's,
too.
It's like the
I'm not
opening
following.
band.
The opening,
Yeah, gotcha.
okay. And
Yes.
if burlesque is the headliner, go-go is support.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
it tends to be done during the break between acts.
So what does that involve specifically?
Dancing, sometimes on a bar, sometimes on a stage, and people come up and put
Monies
dollars in your shimmy belt.
in your shimmy belt.
Yeah,
But it's
this
worth
is-
it to note that there is a belt, though, right? I mean, burlesque isn't always necessarily nude. There's
No.
a lot of costume
Well,
involved.
in New York, burlesque, you're only allowed to strip down to pasties
Right.
and a G-string.
Okay.
Wow.
According to law, it's actually illegal if you're in a place that serves alcohol to show your nipples.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I know a lot of places that are breaking the law.
Well, it depends. It depends on the license. If it's a theater, then technically it's art.
Yeah.
Right,
So-
I got you. So that's the discrepancy there.
Yes.
That's the difference. Is that someone's banging into something? Everyone okay?
Someone just fainted. What if the door just swung open and like
Yeah.
15 people just fell into the room
They were all had their
listening?
wait, we're not done with this. We're not done with this. So I'm more as a curiosity sort of thing. So
Yes.
if you're dancing in a burlesque house, where is that? By
Well,
the
it
way?
tends to be bars. I mean, there are some specialized venues like the Slipper Room.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I've
in
heard
New
of that. Yeah,
Been
yeah.
there.
You've been there?
I'm not gonna lie, I've been to my fair share of burlesque shows. They're a lot of fun to go with,
For
like
sure.
with groups of friends.
Yeah.
I think Slipper Room's like on Orchard and Stanton, like
Yes.
Oh
in
yeah,
the Lower East
Lower
Side.
East
very
Side.
specific.
It's really cool, and I think like I never realized how much humor is involved.
Yes.
in,
For
like,
sure.
the burlesque
And
shows.
DIY and creativity.
Right.
Totally.
It's like an improv-y sort of situation too, isn't it?
It sort of reminds me of roller derby in that it's very, people tend to produce their own shows, they make their own costumes, they come up with a bunch of stuff by themselves. It's not like you're just buying something off a rack
Right.
and then
Right.
wearing it. There's a lot of creativity involved. There's a lot of humor and parody.
Sure.
The word burlesque actually means like making fun of something,
Right.
making a parody of something.
So how long have you been doing this?
It actually began because I started writing for a burlesque magazine back in Sydney.
Wow. Okay.
And
Is that popular in Australia?
Burlesque is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd always been, there's kind of a crossover in the burlesque community between like the pin-up aesthetic and 50s fashion and
Sure.
60s and rockabilly. So I was always interested in that. And
Because you do have that sort of like style going on for sure.
Yeah.
I dig that. No, absolutely. It's awesome. So now we were talking about the difference between burlesque and perhaps what we were talking about before, like almost like a strip club sort of thing.
yeah, people ask that all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of burlesque dancers, like some get really offended at the idea of being compared to a stripper.
Of course.
Some say, well, by definition, I am a stripper.
Huh.
But there's an empowerment aspect to it
Hell
as
yeah.
well, right?
Yeah,
Hell
it's
yeah.
more like with burlesque performers, it's sort of like you're sharing an experience with the audience.
Right.
And it's a joke that you share. Whereas I mean, I don't want to speak for all strip clubs or all strippers.
Please do.
But the few times I've ever been to a strip club, it just seems like there's a very big separation between audience and
Yes.
performer.
Yes.
And
I mean, I wouldn't know. I've never been to a strip
No,
No,
you,
no,
or
no.
you,
but
you would have
I've
no
read
idea.
about it
the
online.
ones that you've seen on TV.
Right, exactly.
No, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a much less and correct me if I'm wrong in describing it this way. Burlesque seems to be a much more humanized experience, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the client customer
Yes.
Right.
situation at a strip establishment.
And audiences at burlesque shows tend to be, well, it depends on the venue, but a lot of them are like 50% women.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Do
it's
you
very
still
different.
get
That's
the
awesome.
creepy older dude in the back just kind of lurking around, staring, leering guy? Does that happen every once in a while?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I would.
But the thing is, it's such a scene. Like the same people tend to come out to shows that
Right.
that wouldn't be tolerated. It would that person would feel very out of place.
Right, for sure.
And I think if they were looking to get their jollies, they wouldn't come to a burlesque show because it's not that kind of
experience.
Right.
experience.
You know what you're getting
Yeah.
there, which is awesome. What have you ever been to one in like Vegas?
I went to 40 Juice when I was at CES
Right
actually.
on. Oh, nice. That's a
Yeah,
great
I went
way.
with Ty.
Oh, oh wait a
Incriminated.
minute. That's it's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
I remember hanging out with Ty one day. He was like, "Hey, I'm going to see my friend at a burlesque show,"
That was probably me.
and I'm like, "Okay." And I just sort of just let that go.
It was
And
us
it
and CNET
wasn't
UK.
and it wasn't like, "Take me with you." It was just like, "All right, bro, see you later."
Yeah.
Didn't process that information.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is there a type of music that you prefer to dance to? I went to this one that was, I think it was based on the Sex Pistols. It was
Oh,
called
yeah.
God Save the Queen. It was so cool. But I
that's
like
awesome.
that different dancers either choose like the 60s route or like a rockabilly type music. This
But
one was
there's-
punk.
Yeah, there's classic burlesque and there's neo burlesque, and neo can be any kind of music. Like you can dance to like rap or R&B or
Yeah.
anything. I love. There's a song by the Black Keys called "Psychotic Girl."
Mm.
Yeah, okay.
I love dancing to that.
All right,
that's
very
my pick
cool.
at the moment.
Spotify. That
Google.
information.
Google
All right, that's
Maps.
really cool. Very, very awesome.
So there you
We're
go.
almost.
I don't think I've ever talked about specifically this on any publicly.
Well, I'm glad we
Nice.
could be the first
I
to sort
know.
of deliver
I'm
that.
a bit nervous at the response.
No, not at
yeah.
all.
How did that go? I think it was fine,
I
right?
think that was. I think we did a great job
Good.
treading around that. You know.
Well, you talked about it on your podcast, I think a
I
couple
did.
weeks ago.
I,
Yeah, tell
I
us-
sort of talked about it in theory though.
Okay.
Okay.
well.
Can you tell us more about that show? That's called Ellipses, right?
Ellipsis, yeah.
Ellipsis, sorry.
I started this when I was in between, after the Record Setter book came out and when I was about to do Atlas.
Uh-huh.
And I used to write a blog called Sprinkle of Ginger.
Mhm.
And it talked about creativity and writing and procrastinating
And being redheaded.
yeah. Well, I think it was a mistake to tie my blog into my hair color.
Because
Because my
Now it's
readers
irrelevant.
revolted when I dyed it darker. But I because I write so much for my job, I kind of get home and I don't want to write anymore. But I'm happy to talk to people and interview people.
Mhm.
So I started this podcast called Ellipsis, and I called it Ellipsis because, well, it's a tie-in to my name, Ella Ellipsis.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got it.
But
Oh,
also,
oh,
there's
oh.
a deeper meaning,
Is there?
which is that, you know, ellipsis is, of course, the three dots.
Okay.
And it sort of means like something that is acknowledged but not said.
Okay.
Right.
Or,
Implied.
yeah,
Sure.
implied. So I like to take things that people think and bring them out into the open and talk about them.
Nice.
So I I've done 10 episodes so far, and I've interviewed writers, comedians, burlesque performer, my friend Alejandro, who used to be a comic book editor at Marvel.
Oh, wow,
Oh,
that's
very
awesome.
So it's a pretty diverse mix, and we talk about frustrations of working in creative fields,
Sure.
and that sort of thing. I think it's funny-ish and
Right on.
inspiring.
Cool.
Very cool.
And you said you don't necessarily stick to a schedule with Ellipsis, but
Well, this is my own failing. I initially wanted it to be weekly, but I quickly realized that was perhaps overambitious.
right,
And I need to get a better microphone.
yeah.
I
You
would-
want one of these?
Yeah, please.
These don't work that well
No,
either.
they're-
You don't want one of these.
Well, that's very cool. Where can people check out Ellipsis?
That is at ellipsis, so ELLIPSIS, podcast.com.
Sweet.
there
All
it
right,
is.
we'll go check that out. And your personal website, you want to plug that real quick before we have to get out of here?
Yeah, sure. I may as well.
Go through the whole gamut. Yeah, let's do it.
Twitter.
Well, yeah, Twitter will lead you everywhere else.
All right.
So twitter.com/Ella Morton
Excellent.
is the place to
Go check it out.
it
Here's a
is.
little screenshot of that.
Add her.
Ella, it's been so much fun. You have to come back.
I would love to come
This
back.
was fantastic.
I'm loving being back at the bosom of CNET.
There you go.
We need more alma mater in this studio.
We do. We're keeping it real. Thanks again to Ella. Please give us a call, 866-404-CNET. It's going to do it for us today. If you want to email us, the404 at CNET.com.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. I had the Ella on the brain. And I'm still thinking about this whole dancing situation.
Yeah, we'll do more research on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I
We'll
think
go to a
she's
burlesque
excited
show
about
together.
that, though. We'll be back Monday. Next week, we do have some guests lined up. We'll tell you about that on Monday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And once again, huge, awesome thanks, Ella Morton.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She will be back, and we will too on Monday. We'll see you then. I'm Jeff Bacalar.
And I'm Justin Yu.
It's the 404 High Tech Lowbrow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you bright and early Monday at noon. Bye-bye.